And we are live. Good morning, y'all. It's Ned over My Philippine Dreams, and this is our weekly live cast addressing the good, the bad, and the sometimes quite odd in the Philippines. If you are considering living, working, studying, vacationing, doing anything in the Philippines, this is probably the place you should stop off. I try to keep these about 35 to 40 minutes. It's not everybody's cup of tea, listening to me babble. And also along the way, I respond to comments in our live chat. We got the live chat going on. So if you have any questions, you have any comments, you can put them in there, and I'll try to keep up with them as we go along. Now, we got a couple things going on today. The dog, which is chained, well, not chained up. He's in this little cage about 6 feet away from my office window, is barking. So I closed the windows. I got the aircon on, and hopefully that won't be bothering you too much. Just a reality of the Philippines. Also, a big shout out to PLDT for continuing to deliver subpar internet to all of the Philippines. They've basically been one of the main, they're actually the backbone here in the Philippines. We've been having big problems with them lately, even with like simple things like Skype calls. So Michelle's trying to address that. Today's episode of our live cast is brought to you by Chasing Your Philippine Dreams, an expat's guide to the Philippines. It's an over 400-page book that we did. I did it with a couple other authors. It's $10.95. You can get it on our website or through the link down in the video description box. And it's got a 100% money back guarantee, and no one has ever asked us for their money back. Today's episode is also brought to you by Big Buy Pie, which is a Chinese manufacturer of aerosol insecticides. Now, what's great about this, when people start complaining about the ants and stuff in the Philippines, you got to go down and you get one of these bottles. This is only 110 pesos. That's about $2. It's got like ant Zyklon B in it. It's pretty nasty. And you follow the ants to their little home base, their nest, and you blast the nest, and this stuff is incredibly effective. So thank you from our sponsor, Big Buy Pie. Great work. All right. So let's get right into it. Dun, dun. The big news this week is President Duterte announcing a suspension to the war on drugs. This comes after him coming into power back in June, and a number of people have been killed, and something recently happened which caused him to declare a suspension to this. So basically, and this is out of the Telegraph, the Philippine police are to suspend their controversial war on drugs until corrupt officers can be rooted out. More than 7,000 people have been killed, including about 2,000 in police operations, since a nationwide crackdown on drugs was instigated by President Rodrigo Duterte. But the kidnap and strangulation of G.Ik Ju last October on the grounds of the PNP national headquarters by rogue officers of the anti-drug squad, Duterte said he was embarrassed and apologized. He accused the police of being corrupt to the core. His police chief, Ronald De La Rosa, that's Bato, B-A-T-O, that's his nickname, has faced pressure to resign, but instead he said that anti-drug units would be temporarily dissolved to rid them of, quote-unquote, scalawags. He said, "We will cleanse our ranks. Then maybe after that we can resume our war on drugs. The president told us to clean the organization first," said De La Rosa. He continued on, "I don't know how long it'll take to cleanse the PNP, the Philippines National Police, but with each and every one of us cooperating, helping each other, maybe in a month we can do it." That's a little bit optimistic, but hey. President Duterte has come under growing international criticism for the brutality of the war on drugs. After entering office, he said he would be happy to slaughter, quote-unquote, millions of Filipino drug users and peddlers. And he has been accused of instigating a wave of uncontrolled violence. Thousands of victims from among the Philippines' poorest classes have been murdered by unidentified hit squads. Many of the mass assassins are believed to be linked to the police, a charge the force strongly denies. Now, a little update on that. This came out yesterday. The streets of Manila seemed unusually quiet the day after Aplan Tokang, the government's anti-drug campaign, was suspended, at least according to the Philippine National Police. Save for one case of a vigilante style, there were no reported deaths due to police operations on Monday. The PNP dissolved, and they said they were going to do this, they dissolved all of its anti-illegal drug units as of Monday. due to cases of police corruption and abuse. Okay, so there's some big fallout going on with this. And with the president saying, and what I thought was interesting, with the president saying he was embarrassed, that's that amor proprio and that HIA. And he's not only experiencing on a personal level, he's experiencing on a national level. So they're taking some steps to try to root out some of this corruption. The important points to get out of this is this war on drugs is basically being targeted against the lower classes, the very poor people that are addicted to shabu. Users, dealers, it doesn't matter. You don't see too many cases of wealthy Filipinos being taken out having duct tape wrapped around their heads and shot, summarily executed. So that's kind of crazy. The story is continuing again, over 7,000. This is government figures, so I don't know how accurate these are. Over 7,000 people have been killed, 2,000 of them by the police because they refused to surrender and pulled guns on the police, so the police had to gun them down. So that can affect, I mean, what goes on the top has some effect on what goes on with the people. Again, national leaders can sometimes be seen as a reflection of the people. Like I said last week, though, I haven't seen any change in attitudes. There have been salvage operations in this area. There have been, vigilante killings in this area, but that was going on even before the war on drugs. Dumaguete has its own vigilante group. I'm not even gonna, it's the Equalizers or something. And what they do is they basically go up to people and say, hey, listen, we know what you're doing. You got to stop it, or we're going to take, stringent measures. So this salvage stuff has been around for a long time, but it can affect us. Things like that can definitely affect us. All right. It looks like the stream is dead. Wow. All right. So we're just going to continue on. There's nothing going on in the stream. Thank you, PLDT, for being the most useless, even more useless than Sky Cable, Sky Broadband. This is just ridiculous. All right, next up is a viewer comment. Actually, first off, let's get into this. Congratulations to the trivia winners from last week. Vagabond X, Terry, France, and KI4GLX. Guessed the trivia question correctly. It was Pink World by Planet P, the Tony Carey thing. And this week's trivia continues upon that. It's also a music trivia question, and it carries over the color scheme from last week. It's a song about a city worker who seems to be Japanese. She is a martial arts expert and takes lots of vitamins. The final clue is she is facing a mechanoid invasion. If you know the answer to this week's trivia question, please PM me. Actually, don't PM me. Send your answer through myphilippinedreams@gmail.com. And the first 3 people that get it right will get a free copy of our book. All right, now into the viewer comment. Ned, first I would like to say I really enjoy the videos. Keep up the good work. I will be flying in around May 15th or so. I've been trying to find cheap airline tickets online. The issue I am having is I don't know how long my funds will last, and I would like to stay there as long as possible. I understand I have to have a return flight out before customs will allow me to enter the country. Is there a way I can get around having to have a return ticket set for a specific date? I have a place to stay the entire time I am there, which will not cost me. Sweet. In your opinion, do you think a budget of 24,000, this is a continuation from last week, 24,000 pesos a month, food, drink, and smokes, will that be fine? Thank you, David. All right. There are online, there's like flyonward.com where you can rent an onward ticket for about 24 hours. They give you a window where you can, use that ticket and to prove at your departure place, whether it be Delta, American, whatever, that you have an onward ticket. The only problem is sometimes there are delays or sometimes there are snafus. And if you show up there and that ticket that you're renting isn't good, you're going to have to purchase another ticket, and that's going to cost you. So what I recommend, I always recommend this, you can go to Philippine Airlines or Cebu Pacific, and they usually have these little deals, promos, where you can get a ticket to like Malaysia, Hong Kong, something like that, and it's usually around $25 to $30 one way. So what I do is when I come in, on the one occasion where I came in and it wasn't a return flight, I bought one of those tickets. I think it was $27 at the time. I never used it. and that's what I used. As for the $500, a little bit over $500 a month for food, drink, and smokes, will that be fine? I'm not sure. I don't know how much you smoke. I don't know how much you drink. I don't know how much you eat. Meals here average about 160 to 180 pesos per meal. Beers are $1 each. Cigarettes are a little bit over $1. So it could last you quite a while. So thank you, David. Thank you for answering that question. Let's go see what's going on with the live stream. It still shows one person watching. So it seems like it's crashed. But I'll continue on nonetheless. Yesterday, I'm trying to eat a little more healthy to maintain my incredible physique. So yesterday I picked up some avocados. Avocados here in the Philippines are about 100 pesos per kilo. That's about $2 per kilo. And I made up some guacamole. Got some, but they didn't have, the only thing they didn't have was lime juice. I couldn't find any lime, so I used calamansi. And that actually came out pretty good. So I've been woofing that down. And although avocado has a lot of calories, it's also got a lot of healthy fats. It's got a lot of antioxidants and that stuff. Now all I do with all this healthy eating, salads, chicken, guacamole, all this stuff, I got to quit smoking. Somebody asked about inflation in the Philippines. How is this, the change in exchange rates affecting inflation in the Philippines? The only inflation that I've seen thus far has been with chooks. Those are the barbecue chickens that you get from like Chooks to Go, those types of places. They went from 180 pesos to 200 pesos. So a full chicken increased in price about 20 pesos. That's almost 50 cents. So inflation does occur. It's inevitable just about in every nation you got. It does happen here, but it hasn't really been affecting any other prices that I've seen. All right. So finally, well, not finally, but we're moving on. Land purchases. We recently had an opportunity to buy some land, and it was up in Upper Bacong. It's not on the coastal area of Bacong, which Bacong is right south of Dumaguete City. It's basically almost part of the city. It's very close. And there was some property going up there. It was like 5,000 square meters for 200 pesos per square meter. And if you know the Philippines and you know the cost of properties and stuff, and you know what they cost around urban areas, that was quite a bargain. Unfortunately, by the time we checked it out, it had already been picked up. But sometimes you do find deals like that, and that's only like for 5,000 square meters. That would have been about 20,000 US dollars. It wasn't something that we were definitely going to do, but we just wanted to check it out. So we drove up there, and he showed us a couple other lots, but they had right-of-ways, and I'm not really crazy about right-of-ways. So, and finally, let's talk about the beauty pageant. It seems like my feed is offline. There's nothing on the live chat. It only says one person watching now, so it looks like it's down. But I will continue on. It says video output too low. Miss Universe. The Miss Universe pageant was they just had that in Manila. This year, Miss Philippines did not win. I believe she came in 6th or something. I'm not absolutely sure. I believe Miss France won. But one thing about beauty pageants that kind of rubs me the wrong way, and beauty pageants are huge in the Philippines. Every barangay, whenever they have their fiestas, they get the beauty pageants, and even if there's not a fiesta, they're just having beauty pageants just because. Basically, it's not like they really had to work and scrape and bleed and tear for what they achieved. Basically, it's just a genetic roll of the dice. You're either born good looking or you're not. Yeah, you can get some plastic surgery along the way to enhance what you already have, but it's basically just luck. It's like congratulating somebody for having a head full of beautiful hair, a thick, luxurious mane, and saying, man, you must have really worked hard to achieve that full head of hair. So I'm not a big fan of these beauty pageants, and I think they're kind of shallow, but, and man, do I sound judgmental, but they're huge in the Philippines, and what they did was they had it up in Manila. And of course, the site that they had to, clear all the homeless people out, all the beggars, all the squatters. They had to relocate all of them. They had to clean the area up. They had to repaint it because it was looking kind of rough to make everything look beautiful for the beauty pageant. And unfortunately, Miss Philippines did not win, but don't worry. There's always next year, and they're always in the runners-up. It's a burden that they have to bear, being so beautiful. All right, so since this thing shows that this is not running, I'm actually going to end this pod, this live cast. I'm very disappointed. My apologies to everybody who's watching this and not able to interact, to chat, because there's nothing in my chat and it says there's only one person watching. Either that or people really hate these live casts. Don't forget the trivia. The first 3 people that get it right get a free copy of our ebook. And until then, everyone, take care. We'll see you next time when our internet is hopefully working. Bye.